Hello, everyone.
I'm
I'm Michael
Today we're checking out Unconscious Mind.
from Lucky Duck Games.
Yeah.
This game plays 1 to 4 players and has a box playtime of 60 to 120 minutes. So, I got to say, the first time you play this game, it can be very overwhelming, and you're
Yeah.
probably going to forget a few things. But you know what? That's okay because you can just play it again and again until you streamline and really get a good concept of all of the different actions that are available to you and how you can generate more resources, shall we say,
yeah.
without getting too deep into the gameplay.
Yeah, this is a pretty big game. So if you like a bunch of moving mechanics that come together, it's probably worth checking out. If you don't like lots of rules, then this might not be the game for you.
It is very much a worker placement game at its heart. And you are also trying to collect resources and deliver them in order to get to the heart of your patient's dreams, which will cause them to heal, have a breakthrough, and eventually you'll heal your patients. Healing your patients does give you some amount of points, but you're also going to get points from creating your journals and doing research and building up influence in the city that we've got here. So we'd like to thank Lucky Duck Games for providing us this copy of Unconscious Mind, but they didn't do so in exchange for this video. They gave it to us because they know we like to play all the games. So this will be the rules video because it's probably going to be longer than 30 minutes in. If you know me, I teach you all the rules, including setup. If you are just interested in the playthrough, click the link down below and that will take you right to it. So, as I mentioned, there is a solo mode, and this base game also comes with some additional modules that can spice up the gameplay after you've played it a few times. So, we're not going to be adding in any of the modules, at least not to my knowledge. And this, like I say, does come with a solo mode. So, let's go ahead and get right to it. So, this game is not set up the way it is in the books. It is set up so that we can get everything on the screen. So, as promised, I will take you through all of the setup. So you've got your two main boards, your city map board and your meeting table board. Normally you put these things together back to back and run these 7 tiles down the middle of it. But we've just got them piled on top of one another up here. Normally you'll have the dreams and the patients all along one side, but ultimately, as long as you know how to get to everything, it should not be a problem. So there are a bunch of these district tokens. You're going to need to just stack them all up. Steph will fix that while I am explaining. We're going to just take a whole bunch of these tokens and we'll stack them all up as long as you've got the one with the little award on the top. And you're going to place that in the corresponding district. You got the red district, the green district, and the purple district. There are 24 of those district tokens. You're going to put Freud's reputation marker on the one spot. You are going to gather up the 6 of these tiles that on the back have these the little location spots on them. And is it these, Steph? Yes. And you're going to place Freud on the spot that you draw. So if I had drawn this one, actually I did draw this one, then Freud is going to go onto the little painting area here. So place this back up here. And then you're going to put all of those 7 location gold tiles between the 2 boards or up here, whichever makes sense for you. So when you're playing with fewer than 4 players, you're going to have to reduce the number of idea spaces. You'll see that there are idea spaces in 1, 2, 3, 4 different columns of the board. With a 2-player game, we've got to block off the outside idea spaces. With 3 players, you're going to block off the top 2 and bottom 2 corners only. So you're also going to take a number of notebook tiles according to the number of players. Notice that these notebook tiles have little Roman numerals 1s and 2s on them. For 2 players, you're going to take 12 each, 12 1s and 12 2s. Shuffle them up, put them in the stack, and then reveal by flipping them up, reveal 2 of them so that the 1s are in the 1 row and the 2s are in the 2 row. And you'll notice that whenever they're flipped over, you'll see that here is the tiles, all of the tiles information of what the tile does. And this is some sort of an extra bonus that you might get if you activate certain spaces. Once you are placing this tile onto your board, though, you're just going to flip this over so the main ability is shown. Anytime you see something with this little arrow on it, it means you have to give up the thing on the left to get the thing on the right. So give up a coffee to get these 2 resources. Place this back on here. So you're going to shuffle up the routine client deck. Steph, if you can pop those over here for a second. There's a routine client deck and a case study client deck. The routine clients look like this on the back, and the case study clients look like this. The case study clients tend to be more difficult clients to deal with and will give you end game scoring bonuses. The routine clients tend to give you player abilities.
Just leave them down here.
Okay, that sounds good. You'll also shuffle up the grief layer deck. Now, the grief layers go into this handy dandy little pocket, and you'll see it's got like a little Rorschach blot on them. Now, the cool thing about these cards is that they have these little transparent overlays, and this is not green screen. This is actually just a transparent overlay that is going to go on top of the clients. Now, keep in mind, these grief layer tiles or grief layer cards have a transparent film on the front end only. You don't want to peel off this back end, or you might end up accidentally pulling the color off of this side. So make sure to just, pick the little edge off, and as you see, you don't really have to even remove this front layer. It is just a protective layer. So, and we probably would not have removed them from ours, except one of them came off on the shuffle, and it's like, well, if you do one, probably ought to do them all. So that's what we did. You want to make sure to remove the ones that have this little graduation cap up in the corner. There are 5 of them, and you want to set those off to the side, shuffling up all of the rest of them. And you're going to put out 2 routines, 2 case studies, and a grief layer over the top of each of them. Now you'll notice on each of these clients, you'll see that there's a number of therapy points that need to be dealt with, and the grief layer will add even more of those little therapy hearts on there. And it's a little bit difficult to see because the hearts are bright green on our green screen. However, you'll see that this grief layer, it's like over the top of this portrait. It makes it look really cool. So you'll also notice that there is a line through all of this stuff down here, and that is on the grief layer. As long as this client has the grief layer on top, you do not have access to this special ability. So once the grief layer is removed, you will have access to this ability, even while this character is still a patient, as long as he or she has the grief layer removed. So, um, shuffle up the Latent Dream deck and the Manifest Dream deck. You're not going to deal out any of these. You're just going to deal out 4 of the Manifest Dream deck in a line right here. Shuffle up the Research cards, deal out 2, regardless of player count. You're going to create a treatise tile display. Those are up by Steph. You'll notice that some of them, they can't see the points on them, but the ones with 2 books on them have an 8 on them. The ones with 3 books on them have 10s, and the ones with 4 books on them have 12s. So you'll also notice that there are little tags on each of those. One of the things that you can do is to collect a bunch of different tags in this game. And those tags also correspond to the 6 locations in the city. Create a pool of bright idea tokens. You don't need to start anybody with those. Everybody is going to need a player board and their colors, all of the tokens of their color. Now, there's a cool little container that holds all of the bits for each of the characters. So it makes it easy for you to quickly open up only one character's worth of stuff. You're going to take 3 ideas and put them down here in the corner, and the other 3 ideas lined up along the top edge here. The ideas are these little speech bubble tokens, and those are what's going to be placed on this meeting board. You are going to place your ink pot, and I think that this is fantastic, assuming they can see this. Your little ink pot, and this is the base copy of the game, not any special Kickstarter, where you've got your uniquely shaped ink pot that you're going to place on your top space on your player board. Your heart-shaped box marker goes on the 0 space of your heart-shaped box track. Your coffee goes on the 4 space. I've got 5 because I'm second player. We'll talk more about that here in a second. You've got 6 player color insights. They go along the bottom edge and the right edge of your display. You're going to have 7 common insights that go into the center of your wheel. This little therapy wheel. What do they call this? It just says common insights in the center reserve space. Oh, it's your insight dial. That's what it is. Your scoring marker on the 0, your reputation marker on this first space right here. Whoever is chosen to be first player is going to put their marker on the top on the research track. And as I mentioned before, if you're second player, you're going to get an extra coffee. A third player is going to get a bright idea, and the fourth player is going to get both a coffee and a bright idea. Shuffle up all of the office room cards. Those have this little graduation cap up here in the corner, like those starting out grief cards. You are going to deal each player 1 at random, and they're going to have an alpha, a beta, a gamma, or a delta on them. And you are going to deal out these tokens that match to for each player. So I've got the alpha card. I'm going to get the 3 alpha tokens. I am ultimately, before the game starts, I'm going to choose one of these. I have ultimately chosen this red one. There's 1 of each color. Could have chosen the purple or the green one, but I have chosen the red one. I'll talk more about that in a second. This card is going to go into your secondary office space. This is going to be closed until you have handled this starting grief card for your starting client. So how do we get this starting client? You're going to deal out 2 of these routine clients. We have those up here on our first row here. Deal out 3 routine clients. You're going to deal out cards equal to the number of players plus one. Put one of the starting grief layers on top of each one. These are the ones with the little graduation cap. And then in reverse player order and going counterclockwise, each player is going to choose one. I have chosen this one here. Then you're going to take a manifest dream, draw it at random, place it here, and then take one of these routine dreams and place it right above. So you'll see I have this routine, this manifest dream that's going to be able to help cure this client, and then the uh, the latent dream is going to then be able to help cure this client. So notice that my client has 6 hearts on him now. So I'm going to move this little heart marker up 6 spaces. Move this in closer for you. So you'll notice I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On that 6th space, I get a point. And this happens whether I'm going up the track or when I get up the track, it's whatever I cover, I'm going to get points for. If I had 8 hearts, I would go onto this little 3 right here, and I would instantly get, I believe do I get 6 points for that at the beginning,
No,
Steph? I
just
cannot.
3.
Oh, you just get whatever you start on. Now, as you cure this client, you're going to also get more points. So I start out getting 3 points, and then I get a 4th and 5th point by curing them one step, and a 6th point by getting them the next step. Eventually, I'm going to get this client to this little sparkle. That is, believe called, what's it called? Steph, you can't remember. It's like a breakthrough of some sort. I can't remember exactly what the name is. I will figure it out when I get there. But basically, when you get here, you get to take that grief layer off your client, and you have access to their abilities from that point. Once you get this marker all the way to the heart, you have cleared that client and you've cured them. So they will go face up in your play area. It'll open up that room in your office so you can have a new client there, but you will continue to gain the benefits of all of the clients that you have healed. So I'm going to get 1 point because I have 6 hearts on mine. Steph also has 6 hearts on hers. They do not all have 6 hearts. So we're both starting with 1 victory point. So let me place my stuff back on top. Once I have finally cured this particular client, I'm going to get whatever is up here in the corner. A lot of times they are victory points and insights that go on your wheel down here. This is just going to give me a bright idea and 2 coffee. So, once you have gotten your first client, then you're going to choose which of these starting markers that you're going to take. You are going to start your character in the spot marked with this area over here. You're going to start off with insight tokens on these particular spaces. Notice that everything with a diamond shape corresponds to this first ring on the track. So I'm going to have a purple, a green, and 2 red. If there's a hex, it's the second location on this insight wheel. And if it's a circle, it's going to be this 3rd ring on the insight wheel. Now, they highly recommend, and I would agree, that you place this first marker that you get on the track that matches this resource, which this is a little red resource. I'm going to place it here. Why that is because whenever this ink pot moves down into that row, you are going to get everything on this row. And as you can probably see just barely here, I'm going to get 1 red diamond. Then I can spend a red diamond to get 2 upgrades. If I don't have a red diamond, I'm not going to be able to get 2 upgrades. So Steph has chosen the green token. That's why she put it on her green row.
So you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Probably
absolutely don't have to.
Recommended though.
So I've placed my professor here. Freud is here. Steph is over here in the bookstore, and that's what we are starting with. So, and that's a whole lot of setup. I got to say, it's like 18 steps for normal setup, and then 13 steps for player setup. So it's quite involved. So we're going to play this game over a series of rounds. In each round, the starting player is going to take a turn. Then everyone else goes in clockwise order. On your turn, you are either going to state ideas with these idea tokens. You are going to recall your ideas because you don't have any more ideas to spend, generally speaking. Though, at least as long as you have at least one idea out there, you don't have to have spent everything. You can recall your ideas at that point. Finally, your final option is to treat your clients. So, place ideas, take back ideas, or treat clients. We're going to keep going until Freud's reputation marker reaches this clock space. Notice Freud's reputation is on the 1. Once Freud's reputation is at the 10, the game end is triggered. We will complete the current round and play one final round, then go to final scoring. Now, you'll notice throughout this game, you'll see numbers that are in white. Those are points that you get right now, victory points. If you see any victory point totals that are in black, and generally they are on these case study clients, those are end game points based on how well you have accomplished your objectives on the case study card. So, every insight has a quality. Growth is green, freedom is the purple, and passion is the red. As I mentioned, there's a minor ring, a median ring, and a major ring. So, you'll also notice that there are these clear tokens. Eventually, you're going to put these player colored ones. You're going to put those in the middle as well, and they can be used just like the clear ones can be used. However, these are the only things that can get your treatises published. Steph, if you'll show up in the corner of these treatises, you're going to place one of your player color insight tokens up there. If you do not have one, you cannot publish. And it doesn't matter where your player color insight is on the board, even if it were all the way to the top. Of course, if I'm using this to publish, then I'm going to lose whatever this insight was. It's probably best to spend these clear ones for your insights and not your player color ones. So let's talk a little bit about insight effects. Remember how I said I'd get 2 upgrades for this token here? That little up arrow is an upgrade. And what that is, it's elevating an insight. That means you are taking one of your insights that is on the wheel and you are elevating it from minor to median or from median to major. So with my 2 upgrades, I could push this one from the minor all the way up to the major passion. I cannot rotate it around unless I have an ability that lets me do so. And that's by, I don't think we have any of them out, but it's a black arrow that looks like this. That's called transferring an insight. And that means you're taking it from one of these wedge sections and rotating it to one or the other direction. So I can make this minor passion insight and make it either freedom or growth with this transfer. The last one is to suppress an insight, and it's like a red down arrow. And usually that is used in order to pay for something else. So I could suppress this insight down one level, maybe to increase 2 other insights. But also notice that if I suppress an insight directly off to the center, I cannot immediately elevate this insight from the center to minor. You have to generate a new insight for that. Moving it from the center to the track is not called elevating, that's called generating an insight. Those usually happen whenever you get something like this. Anytime you see these tokens, this is generate a minor green, a minor purple, and a minor red. So you've got that right here. So whenever you are using these insights, for example, on this dream, this says if I spend a major green insight and 2 minor purple insights, I'm going to heal this client 3 steps and I'm going to get a bright idea. That's pretty good. And when that happens, I'm going to move this token down the track, healing up the client, perhaps getting to this breakthrough right here in order to clear off that the grief layer. And then I have to discard this dream. I cannot use it anymore. Now, it might be where all of the hearts on these dreams will not heal this client. In that case, you're probably going to have to spend some therapy points in order to get them more down the way. So let's talk a little bit about this reputation track. Whenever you gain a reputation point, you've got to follow a series of steps. The first thing you do whenever you get a reputation step is move Freud's reputation marker 1 space. Why? You can't have as much reputation as Freud, I guess. So what you're going to do is advance Freud to the next spot. And he starts off on the 1, so now he's on the 2. Now you get to move your reputation marker 1 space. If that space is occupied, you put your marker on top of whoever else's. So if I get a reputation at this point, I'm going to go on top of Steph's marker. But let's say Steph moved ahead like this. So each time your marker or Freud's marker passes this little Freud move space, that's a little circle with Freud's picture on it, you're going to move Freud 1 step. It looks like one mark was passed, so Freud is going to go clockwise 1 space. So, if for some reason your marker's already on the last space, you just get 3 victory points. Good luck doing that, because that means nobody else got reputation all through the game. Probably not going to happen, but there is a mechanism for it. So then when that is all you do for gaining a reputation point. Whenever you trigger the reputation track, that's something completely different. Whenever you gain reputation, you do not automatically trigger that track. But whenever you do trigger the track, it is... So gaining a reputation is that little award that you saw whenever I was setting these up. And yes, those will give you reputation. Triggering the reputation track is this symbol here. So whenever you trigger the reputation track, you are going to score the victory points and coffee that is on top of your reputation zone. Notice that all of this is the same reputation zone. Then you're going to choose one action from the zone below Freud's space or anything to the left. Let's say Freud was all the way up here. You could take one of these actions or one below it. So let me reset everybody up the way that we were. Boop. So triggering the reputation track does not advance your reputation. Advancing the reputation track does not trigger reputation. So how do you get reputation? There are 7 location goals up here. There are the 3 topmost district tokens. There are the 3 6 bonus spots. You'll notice that there's a little award here, here, and here. And on your player board, if you fill up with all 9 tiles, that's going to also give you a reputation. So let's talk a little bit about coffee, of which I have 5 coffee. The most coffee you can ever have is 6 at one time. Whenever you would gain above 6 coffees, just disregard, or you can spend your coffees in order to get bonuses. So, what things can you do with coffee? Well, everything is in the bottom corner of your player board. If you'll notice in the very bottom corner, you can spend a coffee to avoid having to suppress an insight. So if you had a power that said suppress an insight to do something else, instead you could spend a coffee or use 2 coffees in order anytime on your turn to either elevate or transfer an insight. Finally, you can spend 3 coffees anytime on your turn to gain a bright idea. And the bright ideas are going to be worth points at the end of the game if you do not spend them. Plus, they are helpful to have around. As you'll notice, the other thing on your player board here is you can spend a bright idea to move your ink pot token 1 space more or 1 space less for every bright idea you spend. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So, move this over to the side. On your turn, remember I said you can state ideas, recall ideas, or treat clients. Placing your ideas by stating ideas the main way you're going to perform actions. So, to state your ideas, you can place 1 or 2 ideas from your idea supply, which is down here, not these along the top, and you're going to place them onto a single vacant idea space, pointed with your little pointers on this toward the action you want to perform. I don't know if that's blurry or not, Steph. Might look a little blurry to me. So let's say I wanted to take this action. I can place these either this direction or this direction on either of these spaces. But here's an important note. I cannot point to this if I already have another idea already pointing to this that I might have done on a previous turn. So keep that in mind. The tails of other players' ideas, that's what they call these little tails. The tails of other players' ideas do not prevent you from using an idea. It's only if you are already placing towards one thing. The only way for me to use this specific action twice in successive turns is to pull back my ideas and then the following turn place new ideas out. So for each idea that I've placed this turn, I get to activate the meeting table 1 time. So let's say I do this, pointing down to here, I'm going to get to take 2 of these research cards. So I would do this twice because I've placed 2 ideas. If I only place 1, I'm going to get to do it once.
You cannot do 3, right?
Cannot do 3. I can place 1 or 2 ideas. Yeah. Cannot place 3 ideas. Then we're going to activate our ink pot. After resolving the meeting table, look over here to see where you are, and you're going to move 1, 2, 3, or 4 ink pot spaces based on whether you place your little ideas on rows 1, 2, 3, or 4. So if I go 1 space, I'm going to do this clockwise on my board. 1, just like that. Then I'm going to get everything in this row. And I can take them in any order I want. So make sure to keep track, including this inside here at the start of the track, which is a minor green or purple or red insight. So if it had said 2, I go 2 and take this. I cannot choose to stop at 1 unless I spend a bright idea. 3 would get this 3rd row. If I go 4, I'm going to trigger the reputation track. As you can see here, this is the symbol for triggering the reputation track. If you manage to stop exactly right here, then you don't get to activate any of the things on your tracks. You will get to trigger the reputation track right here. Finally, if you can move up to this top spot right here, the first thing that's going to happen as you pass over is that you're going to unlock one of the ideas at the top of your player board. These ideas here, you're going to get to place the furthest left one in your idea pool. And then whenever you're here, notice that I can now activate everything in this column. When I have unlocked the second column, I can either do this column or this column. And similarly with the third column when that's unlocked. But again, you have to stop your ink pot on this spot in the top corner. So, remember, you have to move your ink pot an exact number of spaces unless you spend bright ideas. So let's talk a little bit about some of the meeting table actions. I should mention, once you have filled up these rows and columns, this is how you unlock your player color insights. And if you'll notice on your player board, that will unlock spots along the bottom or along the side that will give you some advancing your insights, or will allow you to generate minor or median or major insights. Those are along the bottom side. It's just the same as generating some insights like this. But you won't get those until you open them up by filling up rows and columns with tiles like these. How do you get tiles like these? Well, that's what some of these meeting table actions are for. For one coffee, you can get one of these tiles here, and you'll get to take them and place them into your grid wherever you want, as long as it starts on the left and moves towards the right. You couldn't place it over here toward the right before you filled up the ones on the left. So for 2 coffees, you can take one of these here. And in addition, you are going to get whatever this bonus is over on the right-hand side. But for 3 coffees, you can take one of these here on the end. And not only do you get this bonus on the right-hand side, you get to take the ability on the left-hand side as well for each of those tiles if for some reason you chose 2 ideas. Now, anytime you take an idea, another one is going to move in and take its place, sliding down and flipping over. So, let's see here. If you're not able to place the notebook tile into any of your vacant spaces because you've not cured the required number of clients, I'll get to that here in a second, or there's no vacant spaces left, you can replace any tile on your player board with the new one. If you choose one without a notebook tile, there are points underneath, as you can see, because eventually these could run out. So, now if the chosen vacant space, let me see here. If the chosen vacant space shows a 0, 1, or 2 on here on the right-hand side of your player board, you have to have cured 0 clients for your first rightmost tile. The second icon you cover, you have to have cured 1 client. And the third icon you cover, you have to have cured 2 clients. This prevents someone from just trying to spam getting a whole bunch of these tiles as quickly as possible before even curing any of these clients. The way that I was playing, the first time I played, I had like 4 or 5 clients cured by the end of the game and only had one of my rows complete. And maybe that might be my weakness. I'm going to try to fix that.
I only got 1 row complete.
So that's usually not an issue, but I guess it could be an issue if you try to get a lot of these tiles. So, There are 2 action spaces related to research cards. As I mentioned, this will let you gain a research card. This will let you play 1 or 2 research cards or publish a treatise. Let's talk a little bit about these research cards. Every time you gain a research card, you're going to draw the topmost one off the deck. You're going to look at the ones you have in your hand, and you can swap one of the cards from your hand with one of the 2 on display. So if Steph were to take this card and she likes this one better, she will put the card that she drew in this open space. To play a research card from your hand, you're going to play it and you're going to get whatever bonus is on there. In this case, it's one of these tiles right here. Sometimes these will show insights. I believe sometimes they will show those tags for these city locations. So, also you'll notice that these are books. This like doing research. This is a purple book. This over here is a red book. Once you have published enough of these research titles, you can then publish a treatise, which are these volumes up here next to Steph. Choose one from the display. You don't have to uncover these. All of these are available. All 9 of those are available. Set aside at least one of your in-play research card that matches the color of the treatise's leftmost volume. For example, you need to have a green one in order to start publishing this treatise. Set aside the exact number of remaining volumes on your treatise tile. You can use any of your in-play research cards, or you can gather any number of volumes by citing previously published treatises of other players. Each player that you cite immediately gets 1 bright idea and 2 victory points. That's what this says up here. So if I don't have this purple, then I can cite one of Steph's. In order to cite a volume, I have to take the rightmost research card from one of her treatises. So let's say she published this a long time ago, and she's got her books up underneath just like this. And you will actually place these research cards like so. I will take this rightmost one, citing her research, and she will get points for it. That will enable me to actually post this on my own treatise. I will give those to you, Steph. And then you're going to score the number of victory points that it says on the treatise. Additionally, you're going to have 1 player color insight to put in the corner of that treatise. So, after each of these treatises has 2 tags. Once you have published a treatise, you're going to have those tags considered to be in play. So, this generates insights. We talked about that. This performs 2 elevations and 1 transfer. Finally, these 2 deal with moving around the city map. So, for example, this one will either let your professor advance 1 or 2 locations and then activate that location, or move your professor all the way to Freud's location. This one here will enable you to advance Freud 1 to 3 locations. So, now note, in order to move to Freud's location, you cannot start here on Freud's location. You cannot use this effect to move in a full loop. So, after you've moved your professor or Freud, you can trigger that location's effects. You can either count the number of figures in the location or count the tags that you have for that location. So let's say I go forward 2 spaces. I can either take these actions at a strength of 2 because Steph and I are both there. There are 2 figures. Or I can choose my bookstore tags. Maybe I've got a lot of bookstore tags out here. This would be 1 bookstore tag on this treatise. I might have bookstore tags from these location tiles that I've done, or maybe some research tomes that I have done. Oh, I should mention, once you put those research tomes underneath this treatise, you don't have those abilities anymore. And Steph had to deal with that. Steph did publish treatises when we played.
Yep.
So either count figures or count tags. However much activation that gives you, you can do activations on this location. For example, take a minor green insight, take a coffee, or spend median green insight to get a therapy. This little heart-shaped box, this can go up to 3. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. So you'll notice there are 5 gears below each of these locations. That is the maximum number of times you can trigger those effects, even if there's more than 5 figures in the space, or you have more than 5 tags for that space. So, if you were to advance Freud 1 to 3 spaces, the same thing is true. I go 1, 2. Then I would activate this space, not just because I am here, but because I moved Freud to this spot. So I would count figures or tags for the coffee shop. So, there was something else. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about recalling ideas. We talked about stating ideas, recalling ideas. You're going to count all the different idea spaces where you have ideas on the meeting table, and then you're going to gain coffee equal to the number of spaces. So I've got these 2 out here. I do have 1 more over here left, but I don't have to have all of my ideas spent. I can take these back. I have 2 different locations. I'm going to get 2 coffee. Now, I can't get 2 coffee for this. I only get 1 coffee for that because I'm taking it from 1 location. Next, you can claim a location with your professor or Freud. And you can place the topmost district token from this location's district onto any of your bonus slots at your location. So I would take this. Hey, that's going to get me a reputation point. That's the first one of those that's been done. And I can get a tile or get a red insight or get a bright idea. Boom, just like that. Or instead of claiming a location bonus, I can claim a district bonus. This requires one of your player color insights. This is the second thing that needs your colored tokens. If I have one available and I have a certain number of tags for this district, then either coffee or museums, I can claim one of these spots. Let's say I have 8 tags. Well, I can take this 6 and get the bonus from it. This says I can move the ink pot 1 to 4 spaces, and I'm going to get 2 heart-shaped boxes. If for some reason Steph were to come along and she had 6 tags, she would have to take the 5 instead of the 6. She can take a lower ability if she wants to. Now, I don't have to do this in my district. I could do it in Freud's district. I can't do it in Steph's district because neither I nor Freud is there. And if there are no district tokens left, then you cannot claim a bonus. So, as I said, you're going to place this here and then take the district token, placing it here, claiming the bonus. like so. All right, so that's stating ideas and recalling ideas. All that's left is treating clients, and we've already talked a little bit about it. You're going to be basically analyzing the topmost dream and then spending these insights to cure this much from your client. If you move over one of these scoring areas, you are going to get that amount of points. As you pass over them, once you hit here, you're going to reach, it's called catharsis. That's the breakthrough. That's when you get to discard the client's grief layer. And if you completely cure the client and you had points left over, you get to move this heart-shaped box one space per excess therapy point. And obviously, you're going to discard the dreams as you go. Now, you must apply as many as possible. You can't forego therapy points just to get heart-shaped boxes. So keep that in mind. If now you'll notice on some of these clients have a grief layer that has a little symbol up on the top. This one has an eyeball at the top. If the dream that you're using also has that symbol at the top, notice that this has an eyeball and a little water icon, then you are going to get one heart-shaped box. That is found on your little office token. So notice if your symbols match, get a heart-shaped box. What else can you do to get heart-shaped boxes? Well, you can discard one of each level insight. They don't have to be the same color. They can all be different colors if you wanted them to be. And that's going to give you a heart-shaped box. Well, what are these heart-shaped boxes even used for? Well, you can use a heart-shaped box to get 5 victory points. 2 victory points. I thought it was a 5 from my angle. It is 2 victory points. I'm trying to see here, Steph. I thought you can also apply heart-shaped boxes to cure the client, but I don't see that on here anywhere. If you could try to locate that.
It's here.
Oh, it was above. Sorry, I missed it.
I'm pretty sure.
So
you might be able to spend 2, one for each of them.
One for each of. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's what it is. So, once per turn, you can spend a heart-shaped box to cure each client in your offices. No, remember, this is one office. This is the other office. You can cure each of them with your heart-shaped boxes. So, what?
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because these are the 3 different actions you can do on your turn, right?
Cure patient. Oh, no, that's right. When you're curing a patient, when you're curing patients that you're not. I think I'm messing this up a little bit. When you cure patients, you can cure both sides, assuming you have the insight for both of them.
Yeah,
but I seem to recall there was a way to do the therapy points, and as I finish this up, maybe you can find that. Anyway, there are 7 location goals up here, which they can be met by the first player that completes those goals. We've got 1 for the first player to fill up their board, 1 for the player that unlocks these 3 ideas first, 1 for a player that publishes 2 treatises. There's 1 for having 2 player color insights on the city map by placing those in the districts. There's one for curing 3 routine clients. That's the blue icon. And one for curing 2 case study clients. That's the red icon. And then there's one for curing 5 of any type of client. Once you've got that location goal, you're going to place it up like this in front of you. Hey, look, I've got 2 of these wizard looking tags. So that's right here. It's really opera, but it looks like a wizard to me.
It's page 22.
I was just getting to page 22. Here we are.
Yeah.
At the end of your turn, you can use heart-shaped boxes to produce therapy points, which could cure your clients. You can use as many heart-shaped boxes as you have in order to move those. Like if for some reason my 2 dreams did not have 6 total hearts, I'm going to need 6 hearts for this client, right? Not all of them will produce enough. So I'm going to need to use heart-shaped boxes to get this client all the way cured, move them out of my office, and immediately you're going to get a new client. How do you get a new client? Choose one of these 4 up here. Then, following the same sort of procedure that you did before, draw one of these blind, place it underneath, take one of these or draw one off the top. If you don't like any of these, maybe you're fishing for a certain symbol and it's just not out here, place it on the upper part of the dream and then refill if necessary.
Yeah, you can't choose a face down client.
You can never choose a face down client. You can choose a face down manifest dream. So now, drafting new clients is mandatory, even if you don't like the options up here or down here. Once this space is clear, or once your secondary office is open, you must draft a new client. Finally, after signaling the end of the game because Freud reached the end spot and you play the final round, you're going to score the number of victory points on your reputation markers space. So let's say Steph made it to the 6 and I made it to the 3. Steph's going to get 6 points. I'm going to get 3 points. Whoever's marker is furthest ahead is going to get 2 victory points for every published treatise and 2 victory points for every cured client. Now remember, a cured client is one that does not have the grief marker on it. Is that correct? Or do they have to be fully cured?
No, I'm pretty sure you still get if the grief is gone.
If the grief is gone, I believe. Let me double check.
I think it has to have a green check to be fully cured. So
A green check.
There's a symbol that shows a green check next to a client. Hey,
oh, when it reaches the leftmost space, it is cured. So here you get the bonus for it. Here they are cured when they're out of your office.
Thanks for that subscription, Aldi.
Thanks, Aldi. I saw Shano did one earlier as well. So you're going to also get points for player color insights in different districts. Remember, player color insights are these. And you're going to get points for 1, 2, or 3 different districts. That's right there. 4 points, 10 points, or 18 points. There's also some extra things here. I can't quite remember what these are. I'll get to it in just a second. You're going to count your number of completed notebook tile rows, and you're going to score 1, 5, or 16 points for having 1, 2, or 3 rows complete. Finally, you're going to count, well, not finally, but you're also going to count the number of different location tags that you've got in play. If you have all 6 location tags from a variety of different things, maybe research cards, maybe treatises, maybe location, those location bonuses, you're going to get from 0 to 15 points. You're also going to get points for case study clients without grief layers. Remember, I said that you're going to get end game points for each of these case studies based on how well you have completed this. So for this one, it's for every for every level 2 notebook tile that you have, you're going to score 3 points up to a maximum of 15. So that could be really lucrative for you. But he's not an easy client to cure. He's got 7 hearts right off the bat. So you're going to get points for those. You're going to get 2 points for every heart-shaped box. Then you're going to convert your coffee into bright ideas at the usual rate of 3 coffee per bright idea, and then score 1 victory point for every one of your leftover bright ideas. Most victory points wins, claiming the title of Freud's most distinguished contemporary. And if it's a tie, whoever had the highest reputation level wins. There are 3 modules available. You've got the journalist, which is going to give you more access to districts. You could advance the journalist instead of your professor or Freud. You've got some location overlays, which will change things up if you are very used to the locations on these spots. Since this is mine and Steph's second game, we're not using that as well. And then there is the fireworks token. It allows you to claim a district bonus at a discount. So some cool little modules that are added in there. So there was also these that I forgot to mention. Do you remember? Oh yeah. There are ways that you can claim extra bonuses, extra activations for those locations, but I don't remember where those. Let's see. Oh yeah. Whenever the one thing that I missed, let's say I moved to this location and I didn't have any tags, I'm gonna get to activate this twice, right? For every bright idea that you spend, you can get 2 more activations at that place. This up here basically just says number of people or number of tags. Bright ideas is 2 more tags, is what that means. So the one thing that is really difficult to deal with, I think, in Unconscious Mind is that there are 3 different areas where you are looking at all of the stuff that you can do and convert from one thing to another. Like this part here shows your turn sequence, and this part here shows your heart-shaped box stuff, and this part here shows your bright ideas and coffee, and this part here shows your extra activations. There's not one place for all of this. The player aids are quite comprehensive, but do not really include that. It has all of the iconography and all of the case study client effects, but I don't think it has a place that has all of the stuff you can, those anytime things that you can do, or the end of turn things that you can do with the heart-shaped boxes, for example. I think it would have been good if all of that were consolidated into one place somewhere. That said, this is a darn good double sheet player aid, I gotta say. There's not been a question where we couldn't figure out the clients because all the clients are on here. Any comments, Steph? That's a lot of rules.
That's a lot of rules. No, I think the scoring is for the different districts that you've put your token into, but
I already mentioned that.
Yeah.
The 4, 10, and 18 is
said
that.
you didn't know,
That.
but-
No, I said I didn't know the top part,
All right.
which I did figure
I
out.
think that's good. It's a lot. So
I think I made Steph go unconscious.
maybe
Her
a little
mind.
bit. Maybe a little bit. So, but I won the first game, so
You
I'm feeling good.
destroyed me on the first game. Let's be honest, you destroyed me on the first game. Yeah, I am struggling to figure out what things are best to do.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
I guess we'll see. And if you are interested in seeing that, click the link below. That will take you to the playthrough.
Great.
So,
Yes.
if you enjoyed this teaching and soon to come playthrough, and you want to see more just like it, then you can find us on YouTube at Board Gamer Steph. Or even better, you can join us on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph, where we stream live every Wednesday and Sunday night at 5 p.m. Central. What do? We stream
3 or more games every single stream.
Yep. So come join us on Twitch where we play all the games.
And for those on Twitch, we'll be right back.